Hey, Kyle's wonderful here again with another wrestling review. This time it's WWE Raw from August 15th, 2022, live from Washington, D.C. We're in Big Dave Batista country tonight. Sadly, no Batista cameo, but we've had a bunch of good shows and matches and big returns that have kept coming in the last few weeks. With Triple H not even in charge for an entire month now, things have been vastly looking different. We finally brought back the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. Speaking of finally, Io Shirai and Dakota Kai are finally on the main roster as well after years in NXT. They have already qualified for the semifinals along with Raquel Rodriguez and Shotzi. But tonight on Raw, we'll see another first round match in the tag tournament with Asuka and Alexa Bliss taking on Nikki, ASH, and Doudrop. Also announced for tonight is another U.S. title defense from Bobby Lashley, this time in a big first time ever singles match against AJ Styles. And just 1 week after Ciampa came super close to beating Lashley for his first ever WWE title, the number two contender moves up to the number one to challenge Lashley right after. So this could be bad news for Lashley, as AJ is definitely a veteran and is going to be a tough match here. Lashley just having a tough title defense last week. Also tonight, we'll see the return of Riddle, who has been injured multiple times by Seth Rollins, once just before SummerSlam and once at SummerSlam. First with stomps on the steps, then a stomp in the ring after he was already hurt. On last week's episode, we also saw a long show long episode, what do you call it, like storyline with a car crashing in the back and then security and cops running around later. Then at the end of the night last week, after AJ Styles defeated The Miz in the main event, we saw security removing Dexter Lumis, who was trying to get over the barricade. That is a former member of The Way who married into Johnny Gargano's family, The Way. So that was in Johnny Gargano's hometown last week when everyone was hoping to see Johnny wrestling. We got Dexter Lumis trying to rush the barricade instead. So that it should be interesting going forward. I'm really interested to see where that develops. Is it going to lead to Johnny Gargano joining eventually, or is this just a rogue thing that is just bringing Dexter Lumis back? Either way, it's pretty interesting, and it should be another good Raw under the Triple H era. So let's get into it. Again, the Raw from August 15th in Washington, D.C. Raw starts out with the Judgment Day's music playing. Last week, Damian Priest challenged Edge to a match next week on Raw in Toronto, Canada, which is Edge's hometown, which Edge has not wrestled in his hometown in 12 years. And when the Judgment Day's music hit to start Raw here, my brain was telling me that Edge was coming out. I even started writing in my notes, oh, and then Edge's music plays, but no, it's just the music that Edge used is the Judgment Day. So it's still a little weird in my mind. Anyway, last week we saw Dominic also get beat up by Rhea Ripley, presumably. Then all three members that Edge that cost Ray a match against Finn Balor last week. So all three members of the Judgment Day come out. It's Finn Balor, Rhea Ripley, and Damian Priest. They get in the ring and they have microphones. Rhea Ripley says, "The Judgment Day, we run Monday Night Raw. That's been the harsh reality for the Mysterios every single week. I showed Dominic I am his poppy when I destroyed his soul." Finn Balor then says, "The Mysterios won't be here tonight. Dominic was destroyed by Rhea, and I destroyed Ray in the ring last week, solidifying my status as a legend in this business." Good promo by Finn. Damian Priest then says, "I'm looking forward to next week, but do you want to see the Rated R superstar right now? Well, too bad, because Edge isn't here tonight. He's in Toronto promoting our match next week. I didn't need any help to beat you, Edge. I'll put the final nail in your coffin for your career. No Finn, no Rhea, just you and me one-on-one. After Toronto, it won't be known as your hometown. It'll be known as the town Damian Priest retired you. All your retirement, you'll have Beth wheeling you around in a wheelchair, feeding you out of a tube the rest of your life." And then all of a sudden, Rey Mysterio comes out from behind, sending Damian Priest and Finn Balor out. Rhea Ripley then gets into Ray's face. Ray cannot hit her, so Finn comes in with a chair now. Ray takes out Finn, takes the chair, but then again, Rhea causes Ray to hesitate. Now Priest is back in, and he attacks Ray from behind. Finn Balor comes back, and he hits a DDT right onto the chair on Ray's head. So after that, more attacks. Priest holds the chair on Ray's chest while Finn jumps off the top rope with the double stomp coup de grace. And Ray's now making weird noises here, really selling that he got hurt badly with that move. The referees now come out to check on him as we go to a commercial break with the Judgment Day standing tall over Rey Mysterio here with no Edge, no Dominic. Rey Mysterio was taken out because he couldn't hit Rhea Ripley. So Rey will have to recruit a woman, apparently. I would say his daughter, Aaliyah Mysterio, would probably get her butt kicked by Rhea Ripley. So I think Ray's going to have to look elsewhere for that. I'm not really sure who they would recruit. But it would have to be someone that can actually stand up to Rhea. I mean, Aaliyah could at least hit Rhea, but Rhea's just going to destroy Aaliyah Mysterio if that's what they do. So that was pretty interesting. Good way to start Raw. The promos from the Judgment Day were all right. They didn't seem too bad. I like how Finn said that he was solidifying my status as a legend in this business. I like that line a lot. The whole Rhea Ripley thing was also interesting because Ray wasn't going to hit her, but she at the end of the day caused Ray to get major damage. So we'll have to look and see how that turns out later. I mean, like in the coming weeks. When we come back from an ad break now, it will be time for the women's tag team title tournament first round matchup as Alexa Bliss and Asuka come out first. Then before the next team can come out, Bianca Belair also comes out and she wants to watch everyone's back here from Bayley and the Bayley buddies. So finally, Nikki ASH is wearing a leather jacket instead of a cape. So she's still got her damn superhero gimmick going, but no cape this time. Nikki ASH with a leather jacket that Doudrop gave her instead. So please tell me we're finally going to get rid of the superhero gimmick soon. Nikki ASH is going to start the match, and she starts pretty strong against Asuka in the ring here, but Asuka hits a pop-up kick to Nikki's face to turn it around. Alexa tags in, and they double team Nikki and Doudrop. First a double shoulder tackle on Nikki, then a double drop kick to Doudrop. That was really horribly contrived, not looking good on that one. But they followed that with a double hip attack to both Nikki and Doudrop, knocking them off the apron. We immediately go from that to a commercial break, which, man, we just had a commercial break. That was kind of crappy, and this match just got going. So when we come back from break, we see highlights of what we missed, where Alexa Bliss took Nikki ASH out from outside the ring. Then Doudrop took out Alexa from behind. So now everything is just super rushed, kind of like how we're used to women's matches being. That's not good. Some things is just never going to change, I guess, but hopefully someday we can get women's matches not being super rushed. Anyway, Alexa's finally able to tag out now after Doudrop accidentally hits Nikki ASH. Now Asuka comes in wrecking both women, but Nikki tags in and attacks Asuka from behind while Asuka was attacking Doudrop. So Nikki then hits Alexa off the apron, and this is so rushed I can barely keep up with anything. Nikki then hits a crossbody off the top rope, but Alexa breaks up the pin. Doudrop then rushes in. She crushes Alexa with a running crossbody. That looked nasty and awesome. But still, everything's so rushed. We kind of went, and we also missed like minute 2 to 5 of this match with the commercial break. So how could anyone possibly really get into this match? Doudrop's then able to hit a Michinoku driver that looked great from Asuka's just barely able to kick out on this one. Asuka evades the Vader bomb here with a nasty roundhouse kick to Doudrop's head after that. Alexa now tags in, hits her finisher, which is just a simple DDT, which is awkward. Then Asuka tags back in and applies a submission hold. I'm not really quite sure what the name of it is. It's like an octopus hold with the arm and the leg around the neck. But Alexa attacks Nikki from outside the ring while this is happening, and Doudrop actually taps out from this hold, this octopus stretch. So the winners of the match by pinfall, Alexa Bliss and Asuka, they'll move on to the semifinals next week to take on their new rivals, Dakota Kai and Io Sky. So like I said, this match was super rushed. We missed minutes 2 through 5 in a commercial break. So I don't think anybody, even the biggest Alexa Bliss, Asuka, or Nikki and Doudrop fans wouldn't have been into this one. It was just way too rushed. So Bianca then comes into the ring, and I had completely forgotten that Bianca was even out here. She was, it was just, there was too much else going on. So they all celebrate, but when they try to leave here, Bailey, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky stop them. So they all yell at each other while officials come out, and then the segment ends. So far, I mean, I was really excited to get the women's tag team titles back, and I was looking forward to this tournament. And even when we saw the brackets, I was like, okay, this should be good. But so far, all 3 matches that we've gotten in the tournament have kind of been a letdown. All of them have kind of seemed rushed back to WWE, just rushing their women's matches. It's just too rushed. You can't really get into it. It's hard to get into. The SmackDown match was pretty bad. The Shotzi Xia Li against Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah, that one wasn't very good. Last week, Alexa Bliss and Asuka. I mean, that was the best match. Was last week Dakota Kai and Io Sky defeating Doudrop and Tamina. So when that's your best match out of the 3, you know something's going wrong. Hopefully it gets better when we get to the semifinals. We do have a big one more first round match, and it should be an interesting one on SmackDown this week. It'll be NXT. Get a team in there with a team that has never teamed together before. It'll be Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark. Zoe Stark might win the NXT Women's title against Mandy Rose tomorrow night at the Heat Wave event on NXT 2.0. Check out my channel for the review of that tomorrow. But Zoe might be coming into that match already wearing gold, and they've got a big tag match against Natalya and Sonya Deville for the other first round match. The winner of that match will take on Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah, and then next week, like I said, we'll get Alexa Bliss and Asuka against Dakota Sky and Dakota Kai and Io Sky. So then in the back, we finally see Theory for the first time since SummerSlam. And Theory says, I'm still Mr. Money in the Bank. I might have had a slight miscalculation at SummerSlam, but next time I have an opportunity. And then Dolph interrupts Theory here. So Dolph says, next time, this contract right here, it wasn't handed to me. I earned it. That's why everyone loved it when I cashed in and won the world title. So Theory says, I'm pretty sure you won't be around when I cash this in. You're just an old non-title has-been. And when I cash in, I'll keep winning, unlike you, who screwed up the rest of his career after cashing in. Woo, low blow there from Theory. Dolph gets angry, of course, after this because it's true, and then they start fighting backstage, Dolph and Theory. So they actually run into the cameraman as they're brawling, and that takes us to a commercial break. So that was a cool, different way to go to a commercial break with them brawling and running into the cameraman. We do get another commercial break later on that was like kind of out of nowhere as well. So slowly but surely, we're kind of changing up the format. It's just not so formulaic as everything was in the past. I mean, there's still a lot of formulaic things, but look at, we're going to commercial break here with the cameraman getting run into with a backstage brawl. Later on, when somebody jumps the barrier, spoiler, they also go to a commercial break like out of nowhere. So slowly but surely, some of the things are turning. Anyway, just everything so far in this match has been, I mean, in this Raw has been super rushed through. It's a damn 3-hour show. I don't understand why I have to rush through things so much, but at least we got Theory back here, and we might get something from Dolph finally after months of stalking Theory. So I thought maybe these two might end up teaming together, and maybe they still could, but it's looking less likely now, and they're going to have they'll be in the main event tonight, by the way. So they just we've been putting on Raw the biggest, best matches have been going on with an hour left, and then both of the U.S. title matches this week and last week happened at 10 p.m. Eastern instead of the main event. So anyway, we go to an ad break. When we come back, we see the rest of Theory and Dolph brawling backstage. Then we're told they might still be fighting. So even though we can see the officials breaking up at the end of the highlight. That was funny. So anyway, we see a cool recap video of Ciampa almost winning the U.S. title last week against Bobby Lashley. Now in the back is The Miz and Ciampa in their matching watermelon gear here. Ciampa says, I came close. Unfortunately, we don't hand out participation trophies here in WWE. Next time, I'll finish the job. Miz then says, let's be honest. AJ Styles is the reason Ciampa didn't beat Lashley. And now they fight each other. That looks like collusion to me. but we are awesome. And the gift, then a gift was here, given to AJ Ciampa from the Miz, and it's a playing card in a case in a necklace, and it shows Ciampa and Miz together. Miz also has a matching one, so Miz and Ciampa acting like BFFs here. I don't know quite how to take this as such a big Ciampa fan. It's kind of weird, but I'll see where it goes in the end. I'm not going to bury it right now per se. So before the Miz makes Ciampa gets like 2 seconds of his entrance here. They're going to have a tag match next, and then the Miz makes his full entrance. So I'm not sure who it's going to be against, but wow, look at this. We've got the heart and soul of 205 Live finally getting to come up on Raw, because it's Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali, which I review main event as well. And I've been watching these guys form the tag team over the last month. We even got Cedric Alexander taking on Shelton Benjamin in a singles match on main event last week. They shook hands after the match. Cedric won, and that's kind of the end of the chapter of the Hurt business. So Cedric Alexander moves on to his new tag partner now, Mustafa Ali. If you remember on 205 Live, I think it was WrestleMania 34, where they had a whole heart and soul of 205 Live storyline leading to a WrestleMania Cruiserweight title match. Now they formed a tag team this many years later, which is pretty cool. So they have a little picture-in-picture interview during their entrance here where Cedric says, "A new era of Monday Night Raw, and we ain't waiting or standing around. We're taking what we want." So little interview there. That was cool. I was just really excited to finally see Cedric and Ali get their tag team up the Raw. They've had a couple matches on main event as a tag team. They beat T-Bar and Tozawa, but they lost to Alpha Academy. So Cedric and Ali get to the ring. Big cheers from the crowd here, and we haven't really stopped rushing through this first hour yet. Things settle down for hour number 2 and 3, but this first hour is so much rushing through every little thing that you really can't let anything soak in. It's weird. So Cedric and Ciampa are going to start this match. Ciampa takes Cedric to the mat right away with a headlock. Cedric gets out, and then Ciampa hits a shoulder tackle. Cedric uses great agility here then to avoid the next attack, hitting a move and tagging in Mustafa Ali. Cedric then trips Ciampa, and Ali comes in with a slingshot senton. Then Cedric tags back in and hits his own slingshot senton. Great stuff here from the heart and soul of 205 Live. Cedric then hits a chop and a kick, but the Miz distracts Cedric just long enough for Ciampa to go back on the attack. Cedric then looks for a handspring something attack, but Ciampa drop kicks him while he's upside down on his hands. That looked awesome. So Ciampa and Miz then both clap and pat Ciampa's back. Really funny stuff here as we quickly rush to a commercial. The announcer didn't even get to tell us that we're going to commercial. They just cut him off. So why the heck are we rushing through this first hour of Raw so much? It's getting super annoying by this point. Hopefully it does slow down, and it does. For the final 2 hours is slowed down. So when we come back from the break, Miz is in, and then he tags in Ciampa so that they can hit a double team on Cedric Alexander, who looks like he's been caught in the ring the entire break. Cedric then gets out of a headlock and blocks a Ciampa suplex, hitting a snap suplex on Ciampa. Both men now tag out. Ali comes in, chops Miz, but Ali kicks Ciampa off the apron as well. Then Ali hits a terrible rolling zigzag of all things. Looked bad on that one. Dolph can't be too happy about that move being stolen either. Cedric then tags back in and is able to block a skull-crushing finale here. Cedric then hits a big slam, but Ciampa puts Miz's foot on the rope to break the pin. So Ali dives to the outside on Ciampa, sending him crashing into Corey Graves. Corey Graves says that he's broke his phone on that one, but he has insurance, he said. Anyway, Ali now tags in. He hits a super kick to the face of the Miz, but Ciampa has a blind tag and comes in. Ali does not notice as Ali goes up to the top rope. One of the biggest moves of the night. This is going to be gift all over the place for years. Mustafa Ali tries to hit a 450 splash off the top rope, but Ciampa comes in and hits a running knee strike to the face of Ali as he's hitting a 450 splash in midair. That was insane. Ciampa then picks up the lifeless body, and I can't even really get and then they get the big win here. So really good match. I feel like I don't know what happened to my notes. I feel like there was something else that happened in that match, but I think I moved on and I meant to. But the winners of the match for sure are Ciampa and Miz, and that was definitely, if you did not see Ciampa hit that running knee strike on the 450 splash, definitely go find that on Twitter. It was insane. So big win here for Ciampa and Miz, who look like BFFs. It's kind of, like I said, weird, but we'll see where it goes. Ciampa's looking like a star. He's had a really good couple 3 weeks now in a row under the Triple H era, which is great. Ciampa being one of the best NXT products of all time. So we just quickly move on to the next segment because, again, everything's rushed in this first hour. And this was pretty interesting. So now we see a recap of last week where we got the old KO coming back as he took out Ezekiel with the apron power bomb. So we're told now Ezekiel will be out for a long time. About how long it takes to grow a beard back is how long he's going to be back, because he's coming back as Elias when he does come back. So that's good news. This whole Ezekiel thing, it was fun while it lasted, but it never had staying power. But we get a little bit more if you were a fan of and if you were wanting to see like we never got to see Elrod, the third brother. Well, you would have loved this next little. It didn't even last much more than 15 seconds, but we're told, like I said, Ezekiel's going to be out for a long time. And then we see a picture of a bunch of family members. It's Ezekiel / Elias dressed up as a bunch of different family members to visit Ezekiel at the hospital. And then we see Ernie Jr., which is Ezekiel's dad, who says Kevin Owens is going to get a piece of my mind. So maybe before. Maybe we'll not. Maybe Elias / Ezekiel will be back on Raw before he comes back as Elias, and he's going to be Ernie Jr., the father, giving KO a piece of his mind. Maybe KO will attack him as well. Maybe KO could attack 17 other family members while we wait for Elias to grow his beard back and come back as Elias. So I don't know where this is going to go, but it's pretty funny. I don't know. Anyway, it gets even better now. I was a little upset because then we see Drew McIntyre walking in the back for some reason, and what the heck? Is there just, I get that, like, why is he here? He's from SmackDown. Just end the brand split if people are going to be this much coming up to and fro from each brand. But anyway, I almost missed in this segment. There's another background thing that happens just like last week with the car crash and like the security. So this time when Drew's talking, we see Adam Pearce and security putting a fire extinguisher to a trash can, and which is now smoking, or it might have been smoking before. I don't know what happened here. There must have been a trash can fire. I don't know how that fits into anything that happens later, but it's just another way to show that there's chaos backstage and in the arena. So anyway, while this is happening, Drew McIntyre was on his way out to the ring. So when we come back from the break, we see that Wale, who's a Washington, D.C. native and a rapper that's a big wrestling fan, he's in the front row. And now we see highlights from the WrestleMania launch party that happened in L.A. at the stadium that WrestleMania 39 will be in next year. And it was a pretty fun show. You can find it on YouTube. And there was a few matches like Rhea Ripley defeating Nikki ASH. So now Drew McIntyre comes out, and like I said, I'm wondering why, because just either end the brand split or stop this stuff. Half the roster splits, but half like kind of just goes back and forth. So anyway, Corey tells us that Drew is here because if he wins the title, he'll be a part of Raw. But I get that, but he's not the title holder right now. And Roman never shows up the Raw anyway. So anyway, this ends up being all right. So Drew says, I know it's a shock to see me on Raw. It's even more shocking when you see who I take out. Roman, to finish my thought from before I got interrupted on SmackDown, you'll leave your island of relevance and come to my island, meaning like the UK. The fans deserve a champion who shows up every week for work, and there was some reports of the back injury. I'm afraid those reports are true. Yes, because I've been carrying all these guys for 3 years. So you want to hear, this is Drew talking still. You want to hear potential matchups for the future? How about Ciampa, AJ Styles, the new Seth freaking Rollins, Karrion Kross, and then Kevin Owens music hits. So first of all, that was a little popularity contest to see who the crowd likes out of Ciampa, AJ Styles, Seth, and Karrion. I would say AJ got the biggest cheers, but I mean, he's the only face out of those 4 guys. So anyway, Drew says, oh, I like this one too, Drew versus KO. And Kevin Owens says, oh, now you say my name that I came out. I don't understand that how big and good you are that you feel the need to act like you're someone you're not. You have a fake tough guy voice. whoo, shots fired there. And then Kevin Owens continues saying, sometimes you have a kilt, sometimes you have a sword, sometimes you don't. What are you even doing? But I've been the same person for 20 years. I'm Kevin Owens. I'm as real as it gets in this business. You might have forgot because you're just having fun I've been just having fun for the last few years. But earlier today, I realized that we're in the same building tonight that it was Battleground 6 years ago when I faced Sami Zayn. We had an amazing match, and I was vicious in that match. And I think it's time I bring that Kevin Owens back. I haven't had a title in 5 long years, but enough is enough, and it's time for a change. Whew, he brought it out the Owen line. And I'll win any title, but whether it's you or Roman Reigns, I'll take the biggest title of all. What an epic promo here from Kevin Owens. Drew fires back with another really good epic promo. He says, okay, I let you say your piece. I'm sick of people making up stuff just to get a cheap reaction, saying I can't carry the load. They still call me the chosen one and all that, even though I got fired and I had to work my butt off just to get back here and earn my way to the top. I'm tired of all this so this is a wrestling ring. Let's wrestle. KO says okay, and then we go to a commercial break. So both of those promos were awesome. Still just a little too rushed here, but both men really poured their hearts out, said exactly how they really feel about things. Nothing was scripted in that promo. They both spoke with their own voices, talked about their past, talked about themselves, talked about it, like everything was with their own voice. One of the big problems with the big heavily scripted Raw and SmackDowns we've gotten over the last decade or two almost is that everything feels like it's from the voice of one man. It was all from the voice of Vince McMahon. Everybody was talking and just saying what the voice of Vince McMahon would say. But here in this promo right here, KO and Drew McIntyre are definitely just talking from the heart, and it comes off as very, very good television where you know they're actually telling the truth, unlike just talking. Like literally in the past, you would have 20 different people talk on a show and all their voices would seem like it's coming from the same person, which it was. Everything was scripted heavily. So now that people can actually cut promos like this where they're just talking from the heart, it's amazing. So, I mean, I'm a big Kevin Owens fan, still got my ROH Kevin Steen shirt on as I speak. So I was loving this. And Drew McIntyre also, it kind of, KO brought up the stuff that I haven't liked about Drew McIntyre, like how he uses the fake tough guy voice and then the sword. And those are the things I don't like about Drew McIntyre. The things I like is that he's vicious in the ring. He's got a great look and size, agility to go along with that size. So I think maybe they're learning how to fix everything. Like Triple H, man, he's just making everybody the best versions of themselves, which isn't a hard concept, but something that Vince McMahon was not willing to do. So we're getting the KO that we got in NXT. We're getting the Drew McIntyre that we wanted, less swords and kilts and tough guy voices, more just his real badass self. You know, he's a legitimate badass. So just let him be himself, you know. When we come back from the break, it is going to be this match, and it hasn't even started yet. So Kevin Owens against Drew McIntyre, and now there's a referee in the bell ring. So this is definitely cool. I love how they waited for us to start the match. Kevin Owens starts the match here, getting a headlock applied, but Drew uses his power to get out. KO gets another headlock and then a kick to the gut. Drew gets out of the headlock and kicks him in the gut as well, applying a headlock of his own. Drew then hits a big shoulder tackle. Really good start to this match so far. I like this one. So Drew then KO counters and sends Drew shoulder first into the ring post here. KO then does a suck it chop and hits a cannonball senton. So KO then hits a springboard middle rope moonsault as well, getting a 2 count early. Love what I'm watching so far in this match. Even though I don't like the pacing of this Raw, the women's tournament was kind of a letdown. At the end of the day, all the people that we loved in NXT are now getting a second chance under the Triple H regime. So that's more important long term than anything else. Maybe the format of Raw and SmackDown is going to take longer to change than the rest of the stuff, but what we're getting is some really good stuff from everybody. Back to this match now. Drew tries to fight back, but KO hits his head into the ring post. Only like the third ring post shot of the night so far, but holy crap, by the end of the night, we have about 30 ring post shots. Way too much. And it started with this match. KO now has been dominating this match, and then KO hits a frog splash from the apron, and then we go to ad break after that. So KO was having a really good match here. When we come back from break, KO's in control, but Drew hits a huge lariat to turn it around. Drew then hits a nasty overhead suplex. That was looking great, followed by another overhead suplex and a DDT. But KO's able to counter the next attack, hitting a DDT of his own. Drew tries to fight back, but KO gets his feet up to block an attack. Drew's then able to block a top rope swanton bomb, getting his feet up. I think KO got rocked in the face from that one, maybe getting hit in the head there. So Drew gets KO up on the ropes, but they both fall on the rope as Drew was looking for a superplex here. KO's able to block a spider suplex attempt here from Drew, and Drew gets caught in the tree of woe. So really cool move here as KO now hits the cannonball senton again, but this time Drew was in the tree of woe position, and that looked great. So Owens then hits a top rope frog splash, but again, Drew McIntyre is able to kick out at 2. KO goes back up to the top rope and he hits that swanton bomb he wanted earlier. And I thought it might have been over here, but Drew McIntyre, the number one contender, is just barely able to kick out. KO takes a little bit too long getting back up the ropes. So Drew gets up there with him and hits KO with a white noise off the top or like the middle rope. So that was pretty devastating, but KO is able to kick out. Drew then gets hit with a super kick from KO, but Drew hits a Glasgow kiss right back, the big headbutt to the face. Drew then hits a massive lariat that makes KO flip over and land on his head hard. Both men then eventually get up, have a hockey fight here, just throwing haymakers, but Drew wins the striking exchange by hitting a future shock DDT. Drew's now setting up for the Claymore kick, but all of a sudden the Usos show up. What the heck? I mean, I guess the Usos can be on Raw too because they have the Raw titles, but another SmackDown person over here, people, I should say. So that was a little bit disappointing. That ends the match with a disqualification. Your winner by DQ is Drew McIntyre. So I get it. It was still a really good match, but you didn't want either men to lose clean here. KO's just making his comeback in his new character, and Drew McIntyre is going to fight for the title in his home country. So I get it. You didn't want either men to really lose clean. Now KO is able to hit a stunner after the match, getting some of his heat back here. So KO then tells the Usos that Roman owes him one. So that's interesting. And KO and Sami Zayn are maybe potentially going to be teaming up again at some point, and that would mean KO doesn't really like what the Usos are doing to Sami Zayn. So that's interesting as well. Usos then try to attack Drew, but Drew counters them, hitting a Glasgow kiss, and the Usos are sent packing. So Drew then says, "Tell that boss of yours I'll see him on SmackDown, and I can't wait." So, wow, really good match here. The promo before it was even better than the match, and the match was good. So 2 straight weeks of KO returning to old form, and it's been awesome. KO even used the Owen Hart "enough is enough, and it's time for a change" line, which definitely got a pop from me. So great stuff. The Usos thing was fine. Like I said, nobody should have won that match clean, but it was a little weird to have even more SmackDown people on Raw. So now we see a recap of Seth Rollins attacking Riddle, where I was talking about earlier. He took him out twice. Now we see Riddle is in a studio and he's ready to have his interview. But then Seth Rollins comes dancing out to the ring in a ridiculous not matching outfit, and we go to a commercial break. So when we come back, Seth's in the ring and Seth Rollins says, Riddle is getting mic'd up in his mother's basement, ready to give us the big news. So I wanted to come out and get a front row seat when he does the right thing and retires. Now he'll have time to do anything he wants. Maybe he can finish 7th grade or start a farm. So Riddle then interrupts on the video board, and Riddle says, "Bro, I'm glad you're showing everyone what a slime ball you are, but I'm here to update my condition. It's not easy to say this, but I'm medically cleared, and the next time I see you, it's on." So Seth Rollins responds by, "Oh, it's going to be like the last 2 times when I stomped your head in. You know why? Because I'm always 3 steps ahead of you. I wish you were in the ring. I would love to stomp those last few brain cells out of you." Riddle says, "Funny that you say that. I'm not in my parents' bedroom. I'm here in DC, and I'm coming out to kick your butt, bro." So Riddle then comes out, and he leaves his head hanging in the ring here, baiting stomp, but Riddle's able to evade the stomp and then gets an opening to get into the ring. After a little bit of brawling here, Seth kind of is able to take control. The fight spills outside of the ring. Seth clears the announce table. He's looking to stomp Riddle face first into the announce table, but Riddle evades the stomp and knocks Seth into the crowd over the barricade. Seth then runs up the stairs. Riddle follows him, but Seth is too fast and gets away. So Riddle just celebrates with the fans instead, and the fans absolutely loved that. I thought it was pretty good as well. I liked that segment. SummerSlam was good as well. Like like the fact, like we were really looking forward to that match at SummerSlam, but I don't think SummerSlam was good enough on its own without that match, as it turned out. So missing Rollins and Riddle really didn't hurt it too much. Now we'll get a Riddle and Rollins match that'll mean even more after all these storylines that were attached to it. So I'm assuming that that's at Clash of the Castle, which just is making that event shape up to be maybe even better than SummerSlam. There's definitely a chance. I mean, we're not going to have that crazy Brock Roman tractor stuff at Clash of the Castle, but Clash of the Castle is really shaping up to be potentially 2 times better than SummerSlam. I mean, maybe there won't be. I mean, it's going to be hard to top that Becky Bianca match with any of the matches, but they could definitely do it. I mean, Drew and Roman's probably going to be amazing. We still don't know. Who knows? Maybe it'll end up being a triple threat with Karrion Kross or something. There's still time to set up other things. It should be pretty good. So now we get a really good hype video for Lashley and AJ Styles. I'm really excited for that one. And they say this is Lashley and AJ's first ever singles match. And for once, they're not even lying. So and TNA, they never faced off in a singles match. Of course, they've interacted in matches before, 15 different times, in fact, but this is the first ever one-on-one match between AJ and Lashley. And that match will be later, but it is not the main event. So after the break, Riddle's in the back here, and Riddle says, tonight was just a test, but I want my hands on him again. Seth, Clash at the Castle, be there. So that match is now officially set up for Clash at the Castle. It's going to be a good one. I was looking for before SummerSlam started, and when we're like a week away, the 2 matches I was looking forward to the most was Bianca, Becky, and then Seth, Riddle. So I mean, I'm still looking forward to it. And like I said, now it has even more story and gravitas behind it. So good stuff there. And then also good stuff here because Veer Mahon now comes out next. And I'm really interested to see what Triple H is going to do with the undefeated Veer Mahon, who is 20-0 in singles matches this year on Raw, if you count all the main event matches he had while he was running the vignettes that Veer is coming. So in the meantime, he had picked up like 12 wins on main event in those 3 months. Anyway, Veer Mahon will take on Bo Keller, a jobber here in the squash match. But this is a good idea. We did this last week with Omos just to give people a reminder of their big moves and stuff like that. So maybe story will happen, but no, this is just a straight up squash match here. But it is good because we have not seen Veer Mahan on TV in a long time. And like I said, Veer is undefeated, so you could do something with him. Even if you don't have long-term plans for Veer, the fact that he's undefeated on Raw still means you should build him up a little bit and then eventually have someone beat Veer for a big win, you know. So anyway, Bo Keller is the opponent for Veer Mahan, and Veer starts in control, of course. Bo hits one shot here, but that just fires up Veer, who throws Bo out of the ring hard. Back in the ring now, Veer hits a corner lariat, a body tackle looking exactly like Vader here. That looked nice. Veer then hits the $1 million arm, applies the cervical clutch, and literally it was just the greatest hits of Veer's 4 biggest moves here, and he wins the match. Your winner of the match by submission is Veer Mahan, but it did exactly what it was supposed to do. Veer looked like a monster here, and it was a good reminder to everybody that Veer is still here, and Veer has big, devastating power moves. So this gives time to figure out what they want to do, how they want to handle Veer Mahan's undefeated streak. And no storyline came out of this night, but Triple H, I'm guessing, figured he could sneak in this little squash match here because right after the match ends, they tell us that the United States title match is next. I might have even gone a step further if I was Triple H and told everybody, oh, the U.S. title is after this match, like as soon as Veer Mahan was coming out. Sure, it would have taken a little bit of focus away from Veer, but it will actually get more eyeballs to actually watch that Veer Mahan squash match. But at the end of the day, I like this idea. We had 2 squash matches in 2 weeks, one for Omos, one for Veer Mahan. Just good stuff while they figure out what they want to do with them and they build up everything else around them. So we got 2 big, strong monster type heels on the Raw roster, ready to do things and storylines and whatnot whenever they're called upon. So good stuff as long as they're not doing squash matches every single week, and they, at least like this one, was a different guy than the week before. So in the back now, Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky, the Bayley buddies as I call them, are there. And Dakota says, "Spoiler alert, I will win tonight." And then Bayley says, "You can expect a lot more winning when they win the women's tag team titles." And Dakota walks up to Dana Brooke, who she will have a match with later tonight. Dana Brooke was just passing by. Dakota Kai says, "Take it easy. We're not trying to take your title or jump you. I wanted to see if you're ready for our match tonight." Dana Brooke says, I know you're trying to intimidate me, but it's not going to work. And then the segment ends. So I'm sure probably something else weird happened in the background of that, but I just don't have time to keep rewinding Raw and go live after it ends. But maybe there was another, maybe you guys saw it. You can let me know in the comments. Was there another during this segment with the Bailey Buddies and Dana Brooke, was there anything else weird in the background, like on fire or a car crashing or anything like that? I didn't have time to go back. But anyway, it is time for the big United States title match. And again, we get kind of like the real main event happens an hour before the show ends. So I'm wondering what the main event is at this point. Spoiler alert, it's Theory versus Dolph Ziggler. So Dakota Kai against Dana Brooke is going to be this match. In a different match before that as well. So AJ Styles comes out. This is for the US title. AJ is big cheers, but Lashley gets big cheers as well. So it's a little bit dangerous to put two people that the fans love against each other here. But as long as they have a clean match and everything like that, both men will leave getting cheered, and it does add even more prestige to the United States title for the fans in the fans' mind after they see two of their favorite wrestlers have a clean match for the title, and where it makes it look like the title's even better than before. So AJ starts this match strong. Lashley charges in with a lariat, and this is going to be a David versus Goliath fight. So kind of by de facto, Bobby is going to be the heel in the story because Goliath's always the heel in the David versus Goliath fight. The crowd doesn't quite know who to cheer for, but I'm sure they'll get loud in a second. And then as I'm writing that, the huge dueling chant, half the crowd chanting for Lashley, half the crowd chanting for AJ Styles breaks out. So the fans actually choose a side here, which is awesome. Great crowd here tonight in Washington, D.C. AJ now hits a few strikes and a drop kick, but Lashley hits a scoop slam. AJ then comes out of the ring and tries to hit a springboard moonsault, an Asai moonsault, but Lashley pulls him off the apron before he can get on the ropes. AJ gets out of the move here that he was up on Lashley's shoulders. Lashley is able to block going into the ring post, but AJ charges in with a nice jumping knee strike. Right after that, AJ leaps off the apron, basically hitting a phenomenal forearm to the outside of the ring. Lashley goes down hard, and now we go to commercial break. I was fine with the commercial break at that point. It was a good point to put the commercial break. Great match so far, and it should be even better when we get back. And it'll be interesting to see or hear what the crowd's doing when we come back. The show did slow down and stop being rushed ever since that KO Drew match, by the way, which is a really good thing. That first hour was super rushed, though, and kind of took away everything that was happening. But now we're at a better pace now, and we are for the rest of the night as well. After the ad break, the crowd has a buzz over them, as this has a big match feel, big fight feel here. Lashley then hits AJ into the ring post, sending AJ out of the ring. AJ hit the post back first, and now has a bad back, which Lashley follows up by ramming AJ back first into the barricade, then throws AJ twice more into another barricade. Lashley breaks the 10 count, coming back out and rolls AJ in the ring. So nice clean match here so far. I've been liking everything I've been seeing. Lashley gets in the ring, hits a back elbow in the corner twice, then a punch combo, but the referee has to use a 5 count to back Lashley off. Lashley does. It's still not a heel move whatsoever. Just two guys trying to fight for a title. Lashley then AJ hits a jawbreaker and then a big kick to the head. AJ now is slow to get on the attack because his back is hurting. So he can at least recover a little bit, and then after that hits a few stomps. AJ then drops a big knee drop against the head of Lashley, but Lashley gets back up, hitting some strikes. AJ hits a kick to his gut and the chest. AJ hits a striking combo here, but Lashley counters a charging AJ with a nice spine buster. So AJ cannot take too many big shots like that to his back. Wow, AJ then gets his head hit nastily into the ring post, and that was nasty. So everyone expected this to happen, and here it is. The Miz and Ciampa now come down the ringside, and again, AJ gets his head into the ring post. Both times it was from inside the ring. So it looked like devastating, like over the top rope, over the corner, like hitting it. Like if you remember when Cesaro broke his teeth, kind of like that on although just safer than that. The crowd now chants tiny balls, but only for a second because they want to get back to watching this amazing match. AJ then blocks a suplex, but Lashley's able to hang AJ over the ropes. AJ's now on the apron, and Lashley knocks him off hard. Ciampa then distracts the referee on the other side while Miz takes his time as he about to attack AJ here. But then out of nowhere, Dexter Lumis jumps over the barricade. Security wrestled Dexter to the announce table. The announcers are sent flying. They're like silent now. They're not even on their headsets as security guards are fighting with Dexter Lumis on the announce table. Nobody says a word, and we just the screen fades to black, and we go to commercial. So wow, that was done very well. Everybody and their mother knows this is just the storyline with Dexter Lumis, but they did a great job of making it look like this was not planned. This was not part of the show. That was not supposed to happen. The announcers don't say a word. We just fade to black and go to a commercial. So that was really, really good, because I feel like if that really happened in real life, where like, I don't know, I don't even want to put this out in the ether, but say like, I don't know, 10 people rush the ring and it really wasn't supposed to happen, what would WWE do? Wouldn't they just fade to black and go to a commercial real quick? So that's exactly what they would do if this was real, and that made it look really cool. So when we come back from the break, the announcers do mention Dexter Lumis by name, but then Corey yells at the announcer by saying, "Don't give that guy any time." So again, they're doing a really good job of making it look like Dexter Lumis is rogue. He's not signed to WWE, kind of like the NWO kind of stuff. So basically, is the Way going to be the new NWO? That's the way I'm feeling about this. But at this point, we don't know if Dexter Lumis has anything to do with the Way or Johnny Gargano. But it was weird that the first time we ever saw Dexter Lumis was the night that we were all expecting Johnny Gargano to appear in his hometown. So that's we don't get anything more about that tonight, and I'm really, really intrigued to see where the storyline goes. Really, I like how they did it. So back to this really good match. Lashley's in control in the ring against AJ, but AJ is able to evade a spear attempt. Lashley then flies out of the ring after that, and AJ dives to the outside with another flying forearm off of a plancha this time. Back in the ring now, AJ hits a sliding forearm and then fires up, hitting a corner splash. AJ tries to lift up Lashley, but Lashley blocks the attack. Lashley throws AJ onto the apron now, but AJ fights off the attack, slingshots into the ring with a nice elbow strike, getting a 2 count on Lashley. Lashley then hits some shoulder thrust into the corner, but Lashley counters a charging AJ with a power slam right after that. AJ's just barely able to kick out, taking another hard shot to his back. One more big slam will probably take AJ out of this match. Lashley then sets AJ up on the top rope. Lashley joins him up there looking for a top rope belly-to-belly superplex, but AJ is able to get out, lift Lashley off the top, and then hits a rack bomb for a 2 count. AJ's back was a little too hurt to hit that move with a ton of power, and that's why Lashley, I mean, even with power, Lashley was kicking out. So anyway, Lashley blocks a Styles Clash attempt right after that, and then back body drops AJ, who again lands on his hurt back hard. Then Lashley, it's a twisting slam that AJ, thankfully for him, lands on the front on his like stomach this time. Lashley then takes AJ out of the ring, hits his head nastily into the ring post. It was super nasty. AJ was on Lashley's shoulders. Hopefully, the loud noise we heard was AJ's hands and not his head. I didn't get a second look at it, but it looked nasty. AJ then counters a spear by kicking hard in the gut. Almost looked like a low blow here, but AJ's able to counter the spear. Wasn't a heel move whatsoever. AJ now applies the calf crusher in the middle of the ring. Lashley is not able to drag himself with his power to the ropes, but he is able to overpower the hold and actually counter it into the hurt lock full Nelson. But Lashley was on his back while this happened, so AJ actually gets a 2 count, and this breaks the full Nelson hurt lock. So AJ ends up on the apron now, missing a phenomenal forearm, and Lashley just simply hits a spear right after that for the 1-2-3. The winner of this match and still United States champion, the almighty Bobby Lashley. So, wow, great match here. They have great chemistry with each other. I figured they would. 2 longtime veterans. Like I said, even though they've never had a singles match before, they have been in 15 other matches together before. But I figured it was going to be great, and it was. So, good stuff there. Lashley then has 2 big title defenses in back-to-back weeks, and I wonder what Lashley's going to do at Clash at the Castle. Maybe a 4-way with AJ, Miz, and Ciampa, or maybe a new challenger will step up. So that'll be interesting to see. Maybe they'll start doing something like that next week with Lashley. Or maybe Lashley will just have a 3rd title defense, and it'll be against the Miz in 3 back-to-back weeks. So that was pretty cool. Great match. That was the match of the night by far. I mean, the Drew KO match was pretty good, but this one was by far the best match of the night. So don't miss out on this Bobby Lashley AJ Styles match. In the back now, Theory's warming up for his match against Dolph. I had completely forgotten that we set up this match earlier, or maybe it was more the fact that we didn't quite confirm that it was going to happen. So either way, I wasn't sure if it was going to be the main event or not, but it is the main event. When we come back from the ring, we've got our women's match before the main event, and Dana Brooke's already in the ring. Dakota Kai now comes out accompanied by Bayley and Io Sky. The 24/7 title will not be on the line in this match. I wonder if that title's just going to disappear one of these weeks. Anyway, Dakota starts this match strong, hitting a pump kick right away for a 2 count. She's a kick. Her gimmick is like kick demon. She's has a bunch of great kicks. So Jimmy Smith tells us that Dana Brooke wanted to like show that she's a veteran here against these quote unquote rookies, but then Corey Graves freaks out. He's like, Dakota Kai's been wrestling longer than Dana Brooke, and he's like, well, Jimmy Smith is like, well, Dana Brooke, she meant in WWE. So that was kind of funny. And back to this match now. Dakota hits the broski boot of all things in the corner, getting another 2 count. Bayley then tells Wale, who's sitting in the front row, to shut up. That was really funny. I don't know what Wale was saying, but that's hilarious. Dakota then hits some more kicks. Dana tries to fire up and is able to counter 3 attacks in a row here. Dana then hits a lariat to take control. Dana hits a handspring elbow in the corner, but Dakota throws Dana hard into the corner right after that, hitting a haluva kick in the corner for the 1-2-3. The winner of this match by pinfall, Dakota Kai. So, wow. I definitely think Dana Brooke deserves a little bit more than that. I mean, Dakota Kai definitely had to win this match, but I'm guessing they just ran out of time for this match to give it any more length. You're really making Dana Brooke look terrible. And it'll be interesting to see if they ever do anything with Dana Brooke, or is she just going to be fired in the next 6 months or something like that. So it'll be interesting. I like Dana Brooke. I think I wouldn't have her be champion, but she's good to have on the roster. Her promos are decent. She's got a good look to her. She's got power moves in her arsenal. So hopefully she can do something on the roster and just not be fired in 6 months. So anyway, pretty good stuff overall. I like the whole Bayley and the Bayley buddies, as I call them. Like I've been liking everything they've been doing so far. Then we just quickly go to a hype video for the next week's big match right after that. So the women barely get any time here. We just go to Edge in his hometown, and the first time in 12 years next week in Toronto, Canada, we'll take on Damian Priest. Also next week, it'll be the semifinals match in the women's tag tournament, Io Sky and Dakota Kai against Alexa Bliss and Asuka. So 2 good matches already scheduled for Raw next week. It should be pretty good. And that also means that the finals of this tournament will take place before Clash of the Castle, because one of those 2 teams in next week's Raw semifinals will be in the finals for sure. And both teams already have a match at Clash of the Castle, that big 6-woman Bayley buddies versus Alexa, Asuka, and Bianca. So we'll have tag team champions crowned before Clash of the Castle, and that definitely makes you wonder, because the rumors are that Sasha Banks and Naomi are set to return at any point. So the fact that the tag team titles the tournament will be decided before Clash of the Castle finishes makes me think somebody from the SmackDown side is going to win the finals, and then at Clash of the Castle they'll take on Sasha Banks and Naomi. So maybe I don't know if everything's going to come that quickly, but we could potentially still make this Clash of the Castle card even better. It's already looking good, but it might get even better because we might get a let's see, who would it even be? Maybe God, who would it? So to me, I don't think Alexa Bliss or Asuka or the team of Dakota Kai and Io Sky are going to win the titles just because they're in that 6-man tag or the 6-woman tag match at Clash of the Castle already. So maybe they'll just win the titles, one of those 2 teams, more than likely the Bayley buddies. But Clash of the Castle could, like I said, have, if they put the titles on either Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah, or Natalia and Sonya Deville, or even the NXT team of Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark. So if either one of those 3 teams wins it, maybe we'll see Naomi and Sasha Banks already return for their first match at Clash of the Castle. or maybe they'll just come out at Clash of the Castle for a big return surprise, something along those lines. So, but either way, the tag team champions for the women, the tournament will conclude before Clash at the Castle. So Theory's now making his entrance for the main event. There's about 25 minutes left in the show, so they left a lot of room for this main event. You couldn't make this Dolph Theory match. I guess we kind of been building it for a month, but how many people truly like? I like Dolph, I like Theory, but was I looking forward to this match? Not really. And then was the match fine? Yeah. Did it need 20 minutes? No. Did some of the other matches we saw, namely the two women's matches tonight, definitely could have used 2 or 3 more minutes each, and then you could cut down this Theory match to 15 minutes, 13 minutes, something like that. That would have made things a lot better. It would have made it look like you actually care about your women's division. Um, but that's neither here nor there. Let's just get into this one. We go to a commercial break now, but we see a little video about the Street Profits first. Just a little reminder that the Street Profits exist. I'm definitely fine with giving the Street Profits this week off. I think we've seen them at least once a week, sometimes twice a week for at least 2 or 3 months now. So it'll be definitely interesting to see what they do next week. Are they going to tease tension and splitting up the Street Profits anymore? Or are the Street Profits just going to go back to tag teaming and try to revive this Raw tag division that's kind of been stagnant and dead? Like right now, the Raw tag division is dead. We didn't even see Alpha Academy this week either. And Alpha Academy hasn't teamed up in a couple of weeks because Chad Gable was having matches on his own. So maybe we'll see something else tonight. But no, it's just the rest of the night is all Theory and Dolph. So when we come back from the break, there's Theory waiting in the ring. There's 20 minutes left in the show. And like I said, this match didn't necessarily need 20 minutes. We could have given the women's matches a couple more minutes each. So anyway, it should be a pretty good match, and it was. It was a decent match here. Plus, maybe something else wild will happen. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. So anyway, Dolph comes out, and his entrance is interrupted so that we can see Theory fail to cash in his Money in the Bank. He didn't even get to cash it in. So he didn't fail a cash in. He just failed cashing it in at SummerSlam. So the match now starts hot here right away with Dolph getting a takedown. Both men go back and forth with mounted punches. Dolph tries to lock in the hold, but Theory is able to block it. And then Theory hits a nasty punch, the left hand of God, just knocking Dolph absolutely silly. I almost feel like we should have ended the match right there. That punch was so good. And then we could have had something else in the main event. But anyway, Dolph then throws Dolph gets thrown hard into the ring post shoulder first. Theory then talks trash, hits his shoulder into the ring post again. Dolph gets thrown into the ring post. There has been a ton of ring post shots inside the ring tonight. Not even like outside the ring post shots, but inside the ring post shots. There's been like 12 of them tonight. That's ridiculous. So anyway, Theory then hits Dolph into the ring post for a third time after that. And this match looks like it's almost already over. So Theory then keeps the pace super slow here. That's a common theme of this match. If you're not a fan of super slow storyline matches, this match is not for you. So the crowd is hating what they're watching with Theory. They hate Theory. Dolph, they're not really cheering too much. They cheer him a little bit because they hate Theory, but it's not working here. It's definitely not working. Dolph then hits a DDT, but while Theory was busy talking trash, Dolph's still down holding his shoulder from all those ring shot posts or the ring post shots. So Dolph gets up first, however, throws Theory now shoulder first into the ring post. That makes, like, if you count all the outside the ring post shots we got tonight, about 20 to 30. That's way too much tonight in one 3-hour show. Dolph's now in control. He's keeping the pace slow again here, as everything in this match pretty much is. Dolph hits a striking combo in the corner, then sets Theory up on the top rope. Dolph joins him up there, but Theory's able to block the superplex, knocking Dolph down to the mat. But Theory talks trash to the crowd here for a split second that allows Dolph to jump right back up. And one of the moves of the match here slams Theory off the top. Kind of sketchy, but is able to hit a big face buster off the top rope after jumping up there in one fluid motion. So Dolph almost lost his balance, which would have been terrible. Dolph almost lost his balance on the ropes up there, then landed a little awkwardly on his knee because he was like compensating for the off balance stuff. So the top rope face buster did look good, but it was a little sketchy and scary. So when we come back from an ad break now, Theory has a chin lock on Dolph. Some things in WWE will just never change. Like, you know that they're going to be in a chin lock when you come back from the break. Anyway, Dolph hits some elbows to break out of this hold. Theory counters a charging Dolph with a drop toe hold. That looked really nice and fluid. That sends Dolph face first into the turnbuckle. Theory then hits another nice move, a rolling drop kick for a 2 count, then throws Dolph into the ring post, shoulder first again. What the heck is going on? So Dolph is in big trouble here, but he's able to evade the next attack, and Dolph counters the next 3 attacks in a row, fires up, quickening the pace here. Dolph hits 2 flying forearms in a row, then corner mounted punches. Dolph follows that with a diving fist drop for the 2 count. So that was the best flurry of the match. One of the only flurries in the entire match. The entire rest of this match is like super slow paced stuff. So I'm not really feeling this match per se. It's too slow paced. I didn't want to see him in the main event. Dolph Ziggler really isn't an established baby face. He's kind of just, he was a heel for 2 years and then like just started attacking Theory for a month. Is that really going to get people to cheer? Like, it's kind of weird. So I like both guys, but this match wasn't it. Anyway, Theory now blocks a super kick, and Theory hits a blue thunder bomb for a 2 count. Dolph's not going to be able to kick out of many more big shots like that. So Theory then goes to the apron. He's looking for another rolling drop kick or some kind of rolling maneuver, but Dolph counters this roll with a famouser. So that was super smooth. Great stuff on that one. And there is some good stuff in this match. If you don't like a slow-paced match, you're going to hate this. But if you're fine with a slow-paced match, there is some good stuff in this. Like that rolling drop kick countered with the famouser in midair was super smooth and silky. Great stuff on that one. But like I said, the crowd really is like, even on that great move, the crowd's not cheering that loudly for Dolph because, like I said, Dolph was just spending years on a heel tag team doing absolutely nothing, and then randomly started attacking Theory for a month. Really never gave us a reason why, and now they're just hoping that we cheers Dolph because he's against Theory. Like the crowd boos Theory every time he does something, but they don't really like, even on that silky smooth famouser, Dolph doesn't really get cheered. So I don't know what they were kind of thinking. Dolph needed to do something like a promo or something before we put him in a main event match where we're hoping them to get big cheers. Anyway, now both men counter big moves all in a row here. That was a pretty good sequence. Then Theory hits a big lariat. It was nasty. Clothesline from hell right here. Dolph is just barely able to kick out and then is able to block A-Town down twice in a row. Does Dolph block that A-Town down attempt twice in a row. Dolph then hits a zigzag, which, like I said, he probably wasn't too happy about Mustafa Ali hitting a bad zigzag earlier in the night. This one gets him a 2 count, Dolph, but this match has been pretty good, but it's one of those, it's just going to be forgotten within a day or so, unless anything huge happens at the end here. So let's see. Dolph tunes up the band in the corner looking for sweet chin music, but Theory blocks the super kick. Theory then goes for a roll-up pin, puts his feet up on the ropes, but the referee sees it and stops his count. Theory's just able to counter a famouser right after this, nicely putting up off of the famouser. He just puts Dolph on his shoulders and hits the A-Town down for the 1, 2, 3. The winner of this match by pinfall, Theory, Mr. Money in the Bank. So the crowd absolutely hates it. They're booing big time. But like I said, they weren't really cheering Dolph either. They're just here to boo Theory. And I don't even really know if it's heel heat or just go away heat at this point. Or in 2022, is there even a difference? So it's hard to tell what anything is. But it was a decent match, decent episode of Raw. Like I said, if you don't like slow-paced matches, this match, main event match, wasn't for you. But there was 2 really good matches on this Raw. AJ Styles taking on Bobby Lashley. Again, the U.S. title getting prestige added to it for the second week in a row, 3 weeks in a row if you want to count the 2 triple threats, and then we had the highlight package for it. So 3 weeks in a row, we've really helped build up the U.S. title, which is something they should have done a long time ago, especially the moment that Roman Reigns took the Raw title off. So Raw only has 1 singles title right now. You may as well treat it like it's a big deal. So in back-to-back weeks, we had Lashley, who's one of the most popular people on the entire roster. Lashley's able to defend the belt in really good matches, and now all of a sudden the U.S. title looks like a big deal. And that's a great thing. Also, another great thing, KO and Drew McIntyre both kind of returning to their old form, both acting more like badasses and less like, I don't know, scripted goofballs. Or I just always felt like Drew was a goofball carrying out his sword and stuff like that. And then KO, yes, he's one of the most best, like, funniest guys like there is, but he's also really good in the ring when he's vicious and stuff like that. I think he can also do good witty one-liners to make you laugh while being vicious. So that's the best version of KO, and I think that's what we're going to get from now on. Maybe we'll stop getting Drew with the sword so much and stuff like that. He'll probably bring it out for the big Clash at the Castle show because there's probably going to be like a castle background and everything on the entrance stage, so the sword would fit there. but that might be the final time we see the sword. I hope so, because especially after the last time Drew McIntyre hit the damn sword against the ropes, it bent in half and it looked terrible. Oh, what's up, Hassan? Thanks for always tuning in, bro. You're always here. So anyway, really good Raw. I love the revival of KO. That's definitely awesome. We got even more Ciampa stuff that makes him look like a bigger deal. Week after week, Ciampa looks like a big deal. The Dexter Lumis stuff was done really well. I love that they like faded to black, cut to a commercial. Nobody talked. And then when they did mention Dexter Lumis by name, because you do want to mention by name, otherwise people are going to be like, who the heck is this guy? Is this a story? It tells your audience that you are supposed to know who this guy is, and it wasn't just a random fan. So I like that. But then having Corey Graves go, no, don't mention by name. Don't give this guy any of our time. So I love that, how they handled the whole Dexter Lumis thing this week. Really good stuff. I'm so intrigued to see what happens. Is it going to lead to the Way coming to Raw? Does that mean Theory might join them if the Way joins Raw? Like, because Theory was part of their team as well. So it's really interesting to see where this is all going to go. Maybe that'll be like the first big, before you just jump into the deep water with a Johnny Gargano Ciampa match. Maybe we'll get Johnny Gargano's first feud. If he doesn't, who knows if he is going to return or not. I'm assuming he is, and I'm assuming that's what this Dexter Lumis thing is all leading up to. But the beauty of this storyline is we don't really know what it's leading up to. I'm assuming, like we said, because he showed up for the first time, Dexter, in the hometown of Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Gargano, it probably has to do with that. But that might mean that Johnny Gargano against Theory might be the first big feud for Gargano. Anyway, like I said, the main event a little too slow, not enough heat from the crowd. They didn't really care for Dolph because they haven't been told to care for Dolph in so long. And then the first hour I kind of felt was super rushed, hard to follow in the first hour. The tag tournament match definitely suffered because it was too rushed. And like I said, you could have had the tag title tournament in the main event tonight, given that 20 minutes, and I think it would have been a lot better. It would have made the tournament seem like a bigger deal, because right now the 3 tournament matches we've had so far have all kind of been a letdown. So hopefully Zoe Stark and Nikita Lyons bring some good intensity and stuff, and just the whole newness. Oh, here's these women making their debut on the SmackDown and stuff like that. So maybe the last first round match is going to be good, and maybe we'll start to get some good matches in the semifinals. So like next week we'll have Alexa Bliss and Asuka taking on Io Sky and Dakota Kai in the semifinal, and I'm guessing that match is going to be really good. So God, that should be the main event. I'm sure it won't be, but it should be. So anyway, this Raw gets a thumbs up from me. Those 2 matches were by themselves like just enough to make this worthwhile, but then all the other developing storylines and the Dexter Lumis stuff also makes it intriguing. My biggest complaints, of course, the super rushed first hour, just too rushed. It rushed the tournament match. It rushed everything else that happened in the first hour. Once we got to the KO and Drew McIntyre stuff, everything slowed down to a normal pace. You can then soak in everything as it was happening. And that match was awesome. And the promo with KO pulling out the Owen Hart, enough is enough and it's time for a change. That was awesome. And then Drew McIntyre firing back with a good promo in response to that. So that was really good, just as good as their match. I wasn't really I didn't care that the Usos really broke up that match. Nobody was, we don't want either KO or Drew McIntyre to get a loss right now. So that was fine. Let's see if I'm missing anything key. Let me just scroll through my notes. But otherwise, I'm really looking forward to Raw again, like for the first time in years and years and years, probably since like 2016, 2017. The Veer Mahon thing, I like that as well. Back-to-back weeks of squash matches for big monster heels, but it was different big monster heels. So last week it was Omos, this week it was Veer Mahon. I like that. Just you want people to remember that these big monsters exist while you think about what you want to do with them. And Veer Mahon is undefeated, like 20-0 on Raw. So that is something you can. Triple H it was a great idea because Triple H doesn't exactly know what he wants to do with Veer Mahon right now. But now at least Veer Mahon doesn't have to go like a month without being on television. He just gets a quick little squash match, hits his big 4 moves, but reminds everyone that he has big, huge, powerful moves, and he is a monster. So that's good stuff. Maybe I wonder who will eventually beat Veer Mahon for the undefeated streak that he has, and I'm guessing that's what Triple H is trying to figure out, and that's why he's just having squash matches right now. So as long as it doesn't become a weekly occurrence, weekly, I'm fine with a squash match here or there to remind people that they exist. And like someone like a Street Profits, we didn't even have to see them once tonight, which was a good thing. They've been on every show for like 2 months straight, sometimes twice a week. So we did get that tiny little, oh, remember the Street Profits? They exist. And it was just a little 30-second, not even 15-second video. And then next week, I'm sure we'll see the Street Profits back, and maybe we'll find out if they're just going to go on in the tag division, try to revive the Raw tag division, or maybe they'll start teasing a breakup between those two. We'll just have to wait and see. I'm sure the Street Profits had a match on Main Event, and I do cover Main Event on this channel. So if you're wondering what they did in that, come check that out in a couple days. But I'm going to get going. If you're also interested in New Japan, I have all the G1 reviews up on this channel as well. So thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your guys' night, and I'll talk to you again next time. Peace.